Welcome to this week's episode of the Soul-Centered CEO Show, featuring my sweet friend and one of my favorite people on the planet, April Adams Pertuis. Welcome, April. It's such an honor to have you.
Oh, likewise, right back at you. This is
Always
like,
a pleasure.
I'm like a kid in a candy store getting to spend some time with Haley.
I know, right? And I'm so excited for those that are going to be able to join us live or listen on the replay, but we really want to just dive right in. We don't have a lot of time today, but we wanted to just share some more insights and more inspiration around what it means to be a soul-centered CEO. And I think that really, April, you are such the embodiment of that. And I'm just so excited to have you share some of your stories. And since that's your expertise as well, sharing the stories, and share with our listeners really how you have created this business, this life, this movement, really, that you've created with your LIGHTbeamers community in helping women specifically stand in their truth and speak their truth and share their stories as a way to grow their business, make an impact. And for our purpose, for the Soul-Centered CEO, it's to serve more so you can make more so you can give more. That's really, at the end of the day, the embodiment of why we are on this mission to help women grow their business, increase their visibility, so that they can, in turn, be of service and give in a really beautiful and lovely way. So I love having you, and I'm just excited to have you maybe share a little bit about how you decided in the moment that you were ready to create something magical and amazing and really a movement, and what sparked that, and kind of how you got to where you are right now.
Oh, thank you. Of course. And I would love to say it was like a single moment and then everything unfolded brilliantly from there. And as you know, what I know to be true and what you know to be true, Haley, is that, you know, our stories are really just an evolution. Like it's a moment on your timeline. Mm-hmm. And the timeline, you can't tell a story from that single moment. You have to tell the story more from a broad scope of like the journey. Yeah. And so, you know, for me, there was a moment, if you will, of when I really decided to do something different. Mm-hmm. And that was definitely the impetus of all of this unfolding, because I don't believe really as soul-centered CEOs or anyone that's wanting to make an impact in the world, make a positive imprint on others, that doesn't come by happenstance. It really comes after making a decision. Right. And those are powerful things to do. And I think a lot of times, and especially I see this with women are often caught in indecision. Right. And indecision is so crippling. And it really does prevent beauty and greatness and joy and light, you know, to really unfold for you. So making a decision is really, really important. And so for me, there was a time in my life, my background is such that I had been on a really beautiful career trajectory for, you know, a good 20 years, telling stories, doing work that I absolutely loved. Came from a broadcast journalism background, worked in television news. I worked in video marketing, was a video producer for really the bulk of my career, and had the real powerful luxury of getting to tell other people's stories and getting to witness those stories and getting to examine those stories and really learning myself from all of these stories and from the process. And so all of that had been going really, really well. However, I was also at a time in my life where I was a young mom, and I had been staying home a little bit more, saying yes to only a few projects during that time of my life so that I could be there with my kids. And during that process, I started to feel like I was sort of losing my grip on my identity with my career, because, you know, I wasn't saying yes to all the projects. And there got to be a point where the phone started to ring less and less and less. And I became very fearful, and like, oh my gosh, like, am I losing this career that I love so much, you know, because I don't know how to go make the phone ring right now. I don't know how to go and like make people hire me for projects. And so it got me into a place of kind of in a tailspin, you know, as you can imagine. So just kind of worrying about how can I make this work? How can I how can I move myself forward? How can I still create balance in my life? How can I still be a mom? How can I do all these things and be in control of that?
Right.
And although control's like, you know, kind of a slippery slope
Yeah.
itself, but you know what I mean? Like I really wanted to have a hand in it. I didn't want to wait for others.
Yeah.
And so it was really during that period of my life. Okay. So that's kind of where I was, really asking and seeking and praying a lot about it, and really just kind of asking God and spending some time in my journal and kind of dreaming, you know, like what would it look like if I did the work that I wanted to do? What would it look like if I didn't wait for the phone to ring? I actually went and created something myself.
Right.
And I had never allowed myself to think that, you know, which is interesting as a video producer because I create projects all the time, but I had never really been a video producer of my own life, you know? And so it was like, what will this look like if I actually take what I know how to do and apply it to me and create my own projects and don't wait for the phone to ring? And it was really that thinking, that visioning, that questioning, coupled with really the power of the Holy Spirit, who really just, you know, laid it on my heart to go and tell stories, you know, to go and create space. This is really what I heard, to go and create space where women would have a seat at the table to tell their story.
Beautiful.
And I didn't really know what that meant, but I liked the sound of it, you know? So that's where, again, the journey, it goes from there. So the decision was made that I would do that. I said yes to that assignment, but after that I would go and figure it out. Right. And so LIGHTbeamers was born from that place of saying yes to that assignment, saying yes to myself, designing something that I really wanted to create on my own. And then I would, you know, figure it out as I went. Right. And so that's really what's unfolded in the last 5 years. And I'm sitting here now, we just celebrated 5 years of anniversary of LIGHTbeamers.
Exciting. Yeah.
And so what that looks like today is this really beautiful community, private Facebook group, which cracks me up because I never thought like it would come in the form of a private Facebook group, but it did, because, you know, that's what's available. Like that's the beauty of like the world that we live in and the social media and things like that. It gave me a space where I could go and collect all of these women and a few really good men too, to come and tell their stories. And in the process of developing and building that community, I learned along the way that a lot of people really don't know how to tell their story. They understand that they have a story in them, but they're stuck on how to tell it. And then there's a whole nother batch of people that really don't even think they have a story in them. And I'm like hell-bent on showing them that they do.
Yes, you do. Yes.
And so it's just become a passion. And as I've built this platform myself and created it and grown it, it's just fueled me even more. And so today it's, you know, me helping and teaching other people how to tell their story, how to figure out what that story is, how to examine it, how to excavate the layers. And then the more important part of it is then to share it, and because there's a real power in sharing the story with other people, because you really learn to harness the power of your story at that point. So that is what I have learned, and how the path has unfolded and continues to unfold after making that decision to do something that allowed me to just step into a vision that I had never had before.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, thank you for the work that you're doing in the world. It is beautiful. And for me personally, it's been highly impactful for me to really step into more visibility and really what I've always said is that I've built my entire business on share. I just share stories.
Share your story. That's right.
Really it. Like there was no real fancy strategy. It was more just like show up and talk to people. And I think that stories are the way that we feel seen and known and connected, which are sort of the values of for me personally, and also for my own Soul Sparkle business. It's like those are elements that I think are really important. I think storytelling is such a huge part of that. And you know, we had a really beautiful experience together this time last year. Do you know it was this week last year?
This exact moment. Yeah.
This moment. which is really like perfect that we're having this
I
conversation.
know, which we didn't plan, by
I
the way.
didn't even realize it. Yeah.
No.
Until now I'm like, wait, it's September. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And actually we were supposed to be there this week.
Right now.
So I would love for you to take a little bit of time and just maybe share with those that are listening the experience that we had in Paris together last year, and really what shifted in your trajectory for setting you up for this beautiful year of expansion and growth and incredible abundance, really, that you had from that experience. I'd love for you to share if you don't mind.
Yes. This has probably become one of my most favorite stories to share now, at least to date, because it was really, I can kind of like third party view, look at my own story, and really see it for what it really was. And I'm a very appreciative of this moment in Paris. I think the whole experience in Paris was just kind of a big deal. So Haley had invited me last year, right? Like, leading up to, your planned trip in Paris, you had invited me to come and speak and say, you just said, I'd love to have you come experience the trip for yourself and come and, speak on storytelling. And, you had a whole,
and shine your light in the city of light.
Yeah. Shine your light in the city of light. And that was kind of a really hard invitation to turn down. However, it was also hard for me to accept. When you first presented this to me, it was literally in the middle of an event that I was leading and hosting. And I was just like, I cannot even think about this. And then after that event was over, you kept bringing it up to me. I really think you should come to Paris. I think that this would be a great place for you to come, share your message, do this work. And the truth be told, it scared me, right? And who doesn't want to, go to Paris? But at the end of the day, I could find a lot of logistical reasons why it didn't make sense for me to go to Paris. And because I know this is what we as women typically will do, is like, well, what about the kids? Like, they'll be in school and I will have just gotten back. I already knew that I was going to have this big, huge, assignment that I was, producing a big video, and I was going to be getting back from that. And so there would be back-to-back trips, and I was going to be in California for a week. And then I was going to, if I came, it would be going to Paris right after that. That didn't make sense to me because I'm like, well, that's just too long. I can't be gone that long. Like, I'm not giving myself permission to do the things that actually I did want to do. Yeah. And so I was making excuses, but really the excuses were covering up a deeper fear. And the fear at the time was just the unknown. I have traveled a lot. I've traveled out of the country, but I had never traveled to Europe, and I didn't speak the language. And there were things around that whole, and I'd be traveling alone because I knew my husband was going to come with me. Although my mom ended up coming with me, which was a whole nother beautiful experience. I wouldn't say she was exactly, someone that was going to make the trip easier, right? Because she also didn't speak the language. She also had never been to Europe before. So we were the blind leading the blind. But so that was a part of me that I had actually recognized that I was kind of fearful of travel around going to really far away places where I would utterly be out of control, right? So and I recognized that was what the fear was. And then I just realized then there's no better way to get over the fear than just to do it. Like, it would be a ridiculous thing to turn down this invitation to go to Paris and speak and share with these women and get to be with you, one of my favorite humans on the earth, because of my fear. Mm-hmm. And so again, a decision was made that I would step into that, and we went, and it ended up being the most beautiful experience. Like I said, one of my favorite stories to tell now of my life to date, because what happened is I got into that yes energy, right? I said yes to myself. I said yes to I said, forget about all the reasons why this doesn't make sense, right, for me to go. And I said, yes, it does make sense to go, because this would be an opportunity for me to go and share my message with more people. And that's really kind of always been a founding principle when I started LIGHTbeamers, was that, again, not much of a brilliant strategy other than, like you said, I'm just going to go and share my story and like let it unfold. And that's been the strategy that's worked for you brilliantly to build your business. For me, my strategy was, you know, if I ever get the opportunity to speak and share the message of LIGHTbeamers, it always has to be a yes. It just has to be a yes. And so my strategy was just start talking and don't stop, right? And so this was an opportunity for me to continue talking and get that message in front of more women. So it had to be a yes. So when we get to Paris, you had sent a lovely packing list suggestion that included ball gowns. And, you know, the thought of, you know, getting all dressed up in the city of Paris. And we were staying at this really amazing 200-year-old chateau that it was just an extraordinary experience, right? To get to be in Paris at this French chateau, private, like we had the whole chateau to ourselves. And we had a private chef. We had all the sparkly things because that's how you curate your events. And we had these beautiful women that had come from other parts of the country here together. And then we were just this beautiful little circle of women having this experience. And there was a photographer there. You had invited a photographer to be there. And your invitation was for us to get dressed up in these beautiful ball gowns and, you know, have dinner and have photos made. And so when the packing list suggested these ball gowns, I naturally, you know, picked out a dress that was kind of predictable. You know, yellow is one of my favorite colors. It's the color of LIGHTbeamers. And so yellow made sense. And I literally got a yellow dress and had it ready to go. And I had a sweet girlfriend in South Carolina, one of my dear, dear, dear friends, Mimi, and she called me up and she's like, what, you know, take a picture of the dress. Tell me what you're wearing. And I sent it to her and she's like, you cannot take that to Paris. And so she started sending me pictures of all these red dresses from Rent the Runway. And like every day I would get a new text from her with these pictures. And she's like, you're going to Paris. You have to wear red. Well, red for me has never been a color that I wear. I've never been drawn to that color. To me, the color is extremely bold and loud. And while I can be loud and I can be bold, it really isn't how I would, you know, that's not really how probably people describe me. It just felt too much. I mean, this was already too much for me. I was already saying yes in a big way. I was traveling and had my mom with me, and we were going to be at this, you know, we were at this French chateau and there were ball gowns and, you know, photographers and all these things. And it was already just too much. And I just thought, I can't wear the red dress, but I listened to my friend and I ended up taking a red dress with me, and I took a yellow dress. I took the safe one and then I took the risky one. And when it was time for us to go and take our photos and put on our ball gowns, you know, I went upstairs and to get dressed, to put on my dress. And I heard my friend, you know, Mimi saying, you didn't come all the way to Paris to wear yellow. And that really signified to me so much more than about the dress. It was like, I didn't come all the way to Paris to not live into this experience fully. And if I wore the yellow dress, it would signify to me that I was still holding back. Yeah. That I was still going to play it safe, and that I was still going to kind of even, you know, worry about what other people think. If I put the red dress on, it was signified to me that I was going to step into a new, bolder version of myself that I actually knew was waiting for me, right? I actually had already identified that I was having an up-leveling experience, but I was also having an up-level of my life at that moment. Because I had said yes, right? And I think subconsciously, like I knew it, but the emotional side of me, like, you know, your brain, the things that try to keep you safe was trying to tell me to put on that yellow dress, you know, keep your mouth shut, girl, put on the yellow dress, play it safe, which safe, right? How often especially as women, are we told that? I heard recently, I have not listened to this podcast, but apparently on Michelle Obama's podcast this past week, she was talking about how women are so much more accepted and liked when they take up less space.
Absolutely.
Right? And that just pisses me off to no degree. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing that gets me more riled up. And I was experiencing that. Like I was trying to make myself take up less space.
Yeah.
So I put on the red dress and I came downstairs and I stepped out and had this amazing, photo shoot in Paris at this French chateau in this gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful red dress. And I literally stepped into it. And, I owned it. I owned it in that moment. I really just was trying to be present and just accept it and receive it. And it changed something in me. It allowed me to just know that it's okay. Like it ended up being a beautiful experience. I ended up loving the photos. It was so fun to be around all the women. We were such a small little group and everyone was just so loving and supportive. And you were just like doting on me and just, telling me how beautiful I was and how amazing this is. And, it was nothing but a positive, uplifting experience. And so it just was a safe place for me to step into that. And once you step into it, you can't go back. You just can't. And that's the beautiful part about saying yes in your life, is that it will propel you forward, especially saying yes to the right things, because sometimes we say yes to all the wrong things, but you guys know what I'm talking about. This was a hell yes moment.
Yeah.
And so stepping into it when I was extremely uncomfortable, I really was thinking about, I know that these photos would get out. Like I knew I would share the photos. I knew that this would be something that would get shared on social media. And I just was, I was thinking of like that voice in our heads that plays nasty tricks on us. Who does she think she is? Who does she think she is? And that's what I heard.
Yeah.
And we can't listen to those voices because they are the voices that are trying to keep us, in the yellow dress, taking up a lot less space in life. And that's what keeps women from sharing their story. Yeah. And I just knew I couldn't represent that because I'm so not about that with other women. So I can't be about that with myself.
Right.
And so I stepped into the red dress. It was a beautiful moment. In Paris forever changed me and the trajectory. And I came home, in September of 2019. And here I am a year later. And it's it has been one of the most explosive years of my business. I have had unbelievable abundance coming into my business. The type of clients that I'm getting to work with, oh my Lord, I can't even believe some of the things that I'm getting to do. Mm-hmm. I'm in the most creative space of my life. I've created things and just allowed myself to keep saying yes. When I have creative ideas, I lean into them. I've collected the most amazing, beautiful people in my life. My community is thriving. I'm just, not to say that my life is perfect. Don't get me wrong. Plenty of things that I'm still working on, but I do believe that I've been able to have more of the beautiful things that I've desired this year as a result of that decision, that even started with this decision to even go to Paris, and then the follow-up decision of like stepping into that boldness.
Yeah, I love all of that so much. Thank you so much for sharing, because, I just want to say that as creatives, as creators, as entrepreneurs and business owners that really just come up with these ideas that think, at least for me, I'm like, wouldn't it be fabulous to
I think it's a great idea.
To a chateau in Paris, and then to have it come to fruition, to have my dream become manifest, and then for you to be able to experience that, and then to have that kind of response, it just feels so sweet to be like, okay, keep going, keep doing it, keep creating. So if you guys are listening and you are a entrepreneur and you are coming up with beautiful, big, bold visions and dreams of things, keep going, because I feel like it's almost like a ripple. If I show up and allow this divine inspiration to flow through me in a creation kind of way, and I'm expressing my deepest soul desire and dreams, and then calling in those that resonate with that, and then they're blessed by what I created, and then you go on and go on and on. I mean, it's just such a beautiful
Ripple effect.
It really truly is. And I know you had your, your symposium that was really stepping into your brave. And
yeah, that was the whole theme. So I began hosting last year. So, well, early in 2019, I ended up doing 2 in 1 year. But when we came, let's see, gosh, it was 2020. COVID really has messed me up with dates. It doesn't matter. But after we came back from Paris, I ended up hosting my second Storytelling Symposium, which was in February of 2020, which feels like 200 years ago. And the whole theme of that symposium was step into your brave. And I could have never offered that and offered up that theme had I not had that experience in Paris, where I really do third-party view of my own story, could see that I had stepped into my brave in that whole experience. And so I couldn't call other women forward to step into their brave if I didn't first share a story around how I had done it and why I'm so passionate about getting others to do the same. And that looks different. And I'm not saying everybody needs to go to Paris and have a photo shoot in a red dress at a chateau. That was just my experience. But it could be, creating that thing that's always been in your heart, but you've been scared to do it. It could be, leaving a relationship that is really not serving you. It doesn't even have to be with business or entrepreneurship. It could be about anything that deep down, if you get quiet with yourself and you're listening and your own story is kind of guiding you, which it is, deep down what your next steps are, but you're scared to take it. Yeah. Right? You're scared to say yes. You're scared to make a decision. Maybe you are caught in that space of indecision, right? Yeah, you're wearing the yellow dress instead of the red dress.
Right.
Or you're saying no instead of saying yes. You're coming up with all the excuses why you can't go do that thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Now's the time.
That is where you have the opportunity to step into your brave. And only you will ever make that decision. That what I've learned and what I know to be true is nobody can do this for you. You have to do it.
We have to do it ourselves. We have to give ourselves permission to step into the life that we've been dreaming of.
Yes.
And it's not easy,
No.
Comfortable and what's on the other side and what's going to be like and what's going to unfold. There's a lot of unknowns and there can be a lot of fear. But let me tell you that every time I've given myself permission and said yes, the outcome has been extraordinary.
Yeah.
Absolutely extraordinary. And so for those of you that are listening and feel called to step into your brave by wearing your red dress, April and I would love to welcome you and invite you to spend that magical week with us in Paris again. We obviously are not there right now, but we have pushed our dates to Paris in the springtime, and we're going to be there the last week of April, and it will be absolutely gorgeous and amazing, and we'd love to have you join us. So stay tuned for more details. The registration is going to be reopening soon. So for those of you that are interested, reach out to us and we'll make sure that you can get those details and get you registered. Because what I've also noticed, I don't know about you, but it's almost like as soon as I say yes, I don't even have to be in the container yet, but the magic already starts.
Everything. Yeah.
As soon as you get into the energy and the frequency and the vibration of that permission and the yes energy. So we're going to go ahead and welcome you guys in the next week or so as well. And we can't wait to share that experience with you. So thank you so much, April, for being here today. Always a blessing, always a gift to spend time with you.
It's always a gift to me as well, Haley. I adore your work in the world. I love that you do create experiences and containers and just really beautiful space for other women to step into their soul sparkle, right? Their light, becoming a light beamer. I think it's just a beautiful relationship that you and I have, like such good friends and always helping each other, do this work when it's scary. And this is what I love about it, is that when you do say yes and you step into these things, really, you are provided with really beautiful people that will support you along the way. And so these are beautiful circles and containers to join, right? They're just they're lovely. And so
And
if you've
that's
never
really what
experienced that before, find it, or reach out to us, or come to Paris with us and wear your red dress with us, because there's really just beautiful stuff waiting for you on the other side.
Amen. It's so exciting for all that's unfolding with Paris, with LIGHTbeamers, with Soul Sparkle, and with this movement that we're creating with the Soul-Centered
CEO. Yeah.
Like really helping as many people as possible elevate and expand their businesses to where we can, again, serve more, make more, and give more. So thank you so much for everyone that was able to join us live, and those that are listening on the replay. We're so thankful to have you as part of our community, and we're so excited for more and more magic to unfold in the future. So thank you so much. Mwah. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thanks, Haley.